Hello students, welcome in the class. Today I'll start Chapter 3 The Selfish Giant by Oscar Wilde. It is Chapter 3 of your book It So Happened for 8th class. Today I will explain the summary of this chapter. The author of this lesson is Oscar Wilde. The message of the story is coexistence and spreading love. It is a story of a young boy who was a messenger of God and a selfish giant. The giant would not allow the children to play in his garden. Thus, there was always winter in his garden. Seeing this young boy, he realized that he was being selfish. Thus, he allowed the children to play in his garden and also played with them. After years, the giant became very weak. At that time, this young boy came and took him along with him to paradise. Here paradise means heaven, यानी कि स्वर्ग. So here you can see that the author of this lesson is Oscar Wilde, and there is a message in this story of coexistence and spreading love, that we should always spread love in the life of each other. This story is related to a young boy and selfish giant. Here, young boy is considered as a messenger of God who took the selfish giant into paradise in the end. In the beginning, the giant did not allow children to play in the garden, and that's why there is always winter in his garden. But after the realization and after some time, the giant allowed the children to play in his garden. And when he allowed the children to play in his garden, then the spring came in his garden, as well as the happiness also. When the giant became weak, then he used to sit and see the children playing. And in the end, he died, and the child who was a messenger of God took him in the paradise. You can understand this story with the help of picture also. This is first picture where the giant came and tried to make effort to the children, and he shouted on the children that why they are playing in his garden. And when he came and shouted, then the children became afraid and they are trying to run away from the garden, because the giant saying that no one can play in my garden. I will live alone in my garden because this is my garden. In this picture, you can see that the giant allowed the children to play in his garden, and sometimes he used to play with them. As you can see in the picture, this is giant and he is playing with the children. And because he allowed all the children to play, that's why there's spring in his garden. Spring मतलब flower वगैरह आ गए हैं garden में, हरियाली छाई है चारों तरफ. And before that there was winter. Winter से मतलब है frost थी, और means dried leaves थी. Flowers वगैरह नहीं थे उनके garden में. But now when he allowed the children to play in his garden, then the spring came in his garden. Beauty came, happiness came in his life. In this image, you can see that the giant became old. The selfish giant became old. But now he allowed the children. Here he allowed the children to play in his garden. But because he became old, that's why he used to sit on the chair and just see the children playing in the garden. And now all the children also happy, and the giant also satisfied, and you can see he is happy also. And there is a spring also in the garden. You can see the beauty, birds, all were there in the garden of giant. In this picture, you can see that the giant was lifting a child, and this child is considered the messenger of God who took the giant into the paradise after his death. Here you can see the giant has died now, and he was lying under the tree. There were flowers. It was like blessing of God on the body of giant, and in the end it is considered that the messenger of God means who the little child, he was considered as messenger of God, Jesus Christ. He took him into paradise. So this is the summary of this chapter. Thank you.